Good afternoon, Day 842. I'm Cadet Hernandez. I'm the Public Affairs Recruiting Officer for this semester, and today I'm joined with Cadet Lillian Morrow and Cadet Jrotc. And without further ado, we're just going to kind of dive straight into it. So, first question is for both of y'all. What's your name? Where are you from? What is your major? What are your goals for the semester with school in ROTC? So we're going to start off with you.
So my name is Lillian Morrow. I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona. My major is kinesiology. My goals for this semester is to, just have fun with it.
Okay. Yourself, Cadet Jrotc?
I'm kind of from all over the place, but
Yeah.
most recently, I'm from Virginia, Northern Virginia, right outside of D.C. I'm a criminal justice major. I kind of came into school wanting to do that, and now I'm pursuing that in the Air Force, hopefully. And my goals for the semester is obviously to support everything that Cadet Morrow has in mind for the detachment, and kind of collaborate together and use our people and really outreach to the community and have a sense of community within the detachment as well.
That's some phenomenal stuff I'm hearing. So I was born and raised here in San Antonio, so I'm here. But out of state. So what brought you all here? You're El Paso, right?
Yeah.
So what, all the way from Arizona to San Antonio, what kind of brought you over here?
Actually, my sister came to UTSA, and she actually did the RTC program here, commissioned and graduated from UTSA. And now she is a first lieutenant in the Air Force, so just kind of followed in her footsteps.
What about you, Cadet Jrotc?
Well, I was born in Michigan initially, and then I kind of moved all over the place from there. Went to high school, spent most of my time in El Paso. And then for my dad's job, we had to move to Northern Virginia, right outside of D.C., because that's where he worked. I decided to come to UTSA mostly because it was in-state tuition. And being from El Paso, I was like, okay, I'll go.
Yeah.
It's not, surprisingly, it's kind of the closest big city to El Paso, and it's 8 hours away. So that's what made me decide.
Okay. With that being said, what are your Air Force goals?
I feel like that's kind of a loaded question. I'm kind of just gonna ride it out, just see where it takes me. I don't want to make any decisions right now. I'm just gonna kind of wait and see what happens and where it takes me.
So you don't really have a certain plan, whether that's 4 years or 20, you're just kind of going with the flow of things?
Yeah, pretty much as of right now. Okay,
and yourself?
Being a criminal justice major, I kind of had that in mind my whole life. It was always kind of my dream to get into some sort of federal law enforcement. So I didn't really know that you could do that in the Air Force initially. So I wanted to join the military to kind of gain experience and hopefully do that on the civilian side. But then I learned that you can do that in the Air Force in OSI. So I'm currently working on my OSI application. And other than that, I guess my other top two career choices would be intelligence or security forces.
Pretty cool stuff. What, if you were to have a duty station, where would it be if you could choose? Whether it's overseas or here in the States?
What's yours?
Honestly,
I'd say overseas.
I want to go overseas while I'm young. Because I know that when I start a family and everything, it's gonna be harder to travel and go overseas and stuff like that. So I say, why not go to Germany while you're young?
Yeah, absolutely.
Rather than later.
What about Okinawa, Japan?
Yeah, I've heard it's super cool over there too. So
does that kind of pique your interest a little bit, going overseas tomorrow?
Yeah, I think Germany would be super cool. That one would be one that I would definitely love doing.
Absolutely.
The other one that is right up there and competing is Hawaii.
Hawaii, most definitely.
I would go to Hawaii in a heartbeat. No, it's not overseas, but it's close enough.
Okay, that's pretty cool stuff. Obviously, we have some phenomenal stuff ahead of us as far as base assignments and all that stuff. So very excited for that. Do you have any prior Jrotc experience or military experience for that matter in general?
With my family all being Air Force, my mom, my stepdad, my sister, aunts and uncles, grandparents, yes, but I never did Jrotc or anything like that. Just kind of came in here not really knowing what to expect, but kind of had somewhat of an idea because of my sister.
For me, not really at all. My dad was in the Army. He was in infantry for 4 years before I was even born. But other than that, no, I never did like Civil Air Patrol or Jrotc or anything like that prior to ROTC.
Okay, yeah, me either. So it's funny how all three of us at this table never been in a military background or anything like that. So this one is specifically for you, Cadet Morrow. What made you want to apply to become Wing Commander?
Honestly, the reason I applied to be Wing Commander was I've been here now. This is my 4th year. I've been here since I was a freshman, and ever since I started here, I had never seen a female Wing Commander. And so I kind of just took that upon myself, and I was like, I'd really love to see it happen, and how cool would it be if it was me? So I just applied, went for it, just put my name in the basket and gave it my best shot, and now here I am.
Was that intimidating for you? Just, I mean, all our candidates were applied that were male except you.
It was very intimidating, like knowing that there hadn't been one in a while,
right,
and I was the only one who was actually going up for it. It does kind of put that like spotlight on you where you do kind of feel a little bit different, but at the same time, given that the Air Force is
diverse,
it's pretty diverse, but I mean there's still a lot more. It's definitely still more of a male dominated like workforce, but there's a lot of females in it now, but it's kind of not like an uncommon thing anymore.
So if you could give a message to underrepresented people, whether that's race, ethnicity, gender, specifically in your case, what would you give to young females out there that are, maybe it's the GMC or just in general, that are females that would like to become Wing Commander or taking on something that's as scary as this, if you will?
I would just say don't be afraid to put yourself out there, even if it's frightening and you don't know if you're going to actually get it or if things are going to work out in your favor. You can always learn something from the experience. So even if you don't get the outcome you wanted, the experience that you had will give you like life lessons and teach you things that you may have not known before.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. And moving on with that, this question's for both of y'all. Was Air Force always the choice for you?
Pretty much. I mean, out of high school, I knew that I wanted to go to college, but after that, I didn't really know much of what else I wanted to do. And then coming from like a heavily military family, I just knew like how good they treat their people, and like the Air Force, like
we're known for that.
Yeah. Like the Air Force like was kind of my only option when it came to like military branches. But I'm excited. I'm happy that I did it.
Yeah, me too. What about you?
I didn't really know anything about the military 4 years ago. So, my dad was the one who gave me the advice, and like I said, he did 4 years in the Army, and no hate to the Army folks, but he definitely recommended that I join Air Force ROTC and commissioned through that source. And so I took his advice, and here I am.
Okay. Moving on from that, so for all the newer students watching, specifically the Rising AS300s, how would you tell them to better prepare themselves to becoming Wing Commander? And this, since both of y'all apply, primarily you, since you got accepted, but I want to get both aspects here.
I guess it's just all what you put into it. I mean, the whole application process takes time. The interview is nerve-wracking. You just kind of have to put your best foot forward, and you have to really set aside the time to like really want to do it. And I mean, if you have like the slightest thought of like, oh, I might want to try, just try. I mean, it's kind of rewarding. Like it's really cool to be able to like see where I came from like my freshman year to where I am now. I never thought I would be sitting here. So.
What about you?
Yeah, honestly, it never hurts to throw your name in the hat and apply. But my main thing is like just when you do apply, I think it means a lot if you mean what you say, come with a unique approach on how you want to change things to better the detachment, and just be yourself, really.
Yeah, kind of adding on, like, being authentic, too. I think having your goal and your purpose and kind of sticking to it, like,
absolutely, that
really helps, because if you go into the process and you're trying to give them answers or you're trying to write things that they think they want to hear, like, they can kind of detect that stuff. So, like, do something, like, you are really actually passionate about, and it'll carry.
So my next question kind of falls in similarity with that. So what did you have to do to accomplish to become wing commander? Obviously, you have to have a lot of accolades. Like, they're not going to just give somebody the wing commander position.
Right. So first, everyone can apply. Anyone from any AS level can actually apply. Once the applications go through, they'll kind of go through those, read through them. In the application, there's a few different things that you have to complete. It was the org chart.
Yeah.
There was a few different like memorandums and letters that you had to write. Just kind of answering some questions, and everyone had the same ones. And then once they go through the packets, they'll select you for an interview, and then you'll kind of just have to come prepared for that. And I think the interview is like the most intimidating part.
Yeah,
was
for sure.
Sweating bullets. It was frightening.
So you to kind of dissect that really quick, what did you have to accomplish though specifically? Not specifically, but just what makes you think you stood out compared to your peers?
I was super passionate about just kind of being the only woman who applied. I kind of wanted to let that kind of trickle down into the lower classes. So I was super passionate about making sure that like females don't feel like they can't apply for things like this or they can't hold higher positions. And even in flights sometimes, like some of the more quiet girls, like they get talked over sometimes, and it's not like an intentional thing, but I just want to be able to like kind of be a role model and like empower them to want to push themselves outside of their comfort zones.
I agree 100%. Everybody should get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and that's one perfect way to do it. So my question is for both y'all actually, what kind of habits throughout your ROTC career and student life did you need to get to where you are currently?
Definitely a separation of like school, work, and like fun. Like we're all college kids still, like we're all still trying to, you know, get our stuff together, and we all have things going on outside, and we all still want to like go have fun with our friends. And if you start to let everything merge too much, you lose any sense of that fun and you just become overwhelmed. So making sure that you set aside time to focus on school, to focus on ROTC, and then to focus on yourself, because in the midst of how much work you put into school and ROTC, like it's super easy to like drown yourself out in that. So making sure that you take time away, focus on yourself, go hang out with friends, do something fun, go to the river, doesn't matter. Just definitely separating all that stuff was definitely something I had to learn how to do, because there was some points, especially during like FTP semester, that it gets hard.
Absolutely.
Like ROTC is not something easy. So being able to definitely like step back and leave it and come back to it the next day is definitely like something that helped.
So time management, you
Absolutely.
think that's essential. I agree
Absolutely.
with that too. What
It's
about
hard,
you?
though.
Yeah. What about you, Cadet?
Yeah, I think that was really well said. The really unique thing that we're kind of blessed with in ROTC is that we have the ability to be college students, you know, sometimes have part-time, full-time jobs, and be cadets all at the same time. And with that comes very great time management skills. And it's something you really need to learn from your AS 100 year to your AS 400 year. And I assume in active duty that's something, a very important skill to have as well. And then you said it really well too, the being comfortable in uncomfortable situations. You got to put yourself out there from the very start. That was something I really struggled with my first semester in RTC, and at the end of that semester I decided, you know, either this was something I'm going to do 100% or not do it at all. So I think that's a very early decision that you have to make in ROTC.
Absolutely.
Because ultimately it is going to be your career eventually. So, you know, treat it as such and put the effort in that it deserves.
It's actually kind of crazy. Me and Cadet Jrotc were actually in the same flight our first semester of freshman year, and now we're sitting here.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. We were in
And
the
it just
same
felt like
flight.
yesterday, right? That we were in Alpha Flight that spring semester.
Yeah.
Right. That was insane.
That was fun, yeah.
That was insane.
So what would for both of y'all, what should everyone who is thinking about being the next wing commander, what do you think they should know? What should they carry with them? Not just to the interview, but the whole process. What should they carry with them?
That's hard.
A good work ethic, for sure.
Yeah.
You can't just go into the job, or really any job in RTC, without expecting a heavy workload. And it's not about the work that's assigned to you or given to you. It's about reaching out and finding work for yourself, because that's, at the end of the day, that's how you're going to improve detachment and make your impact on people.
Yeah, I would just say be prepared to put in the work. It's being wing commander, it is a lot. There's a lot of things that it entails. There's a lot of tasks that you have to track. So just being organized and being prepared to just do the work is...
Absolutely. So what is your vision for the detachment, Cadet Morrow?
I mean, I think we're really focused this semester on building the community aspect. We really want to see everyone come together, kind of similar to like being able to have time management. Like, we're pretty blessed to have people who all go through a lot of the same things we do, with waking up early and having the late nights of studying. And we're kind of blessed with that. So being able to build the community within our detachment and really relying on each other a little bit more, and kind of still blending the GMC and POC together while still being able to keep that professionalism point.
Absolutely. So I know that was been a previous struggle with us in the previous semesters, with having that tanglement between GMC and POC. So how are you going to tackle that exactly with interaction between GMC and POC?
I know we've talked about it a little bit. We're just trying to get GMC a little bit more involved with us. I know that a lot of them, this is very new to them. They've never done anything like this before, especially the ones who are just coming in. Just making them feel welcomed, not
Absolutely.
making them feel like we're the enemy because someone like disciplined them at PT and was like yelling at them for doing anything wrong. Like, we're just gonna try and, I don't know, make it a little bit nice. Like, not, I don't know. It's kind of a loaded question, I guess.
Yeah, I can. It's hard to do that because at the
Right.
same time you have a role to play as POC. We're not here to
Right.
be your friends when it comes to PMT events, but at the same time, we can still have that connection where we're taking on that mentorship role. So I definitely look
Right.
forward to that, and I think that's something that you're fully capable of. As I think you're very compassionate as a wing commander, probably one of our most compassionate previously. So, with that being said, what was a surprise for you for whenever you got selected as a wing commander that you didn't expect prior to applying?
In all honesty, I didn't expect to get selected whatsoever.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think for me, I just kind of put it in my head like, oh, if you don't get it, you don't get it, you'll be fine. And so then when I found out that I did get it, I never prepared myself for that situation to be the outcome. So I just remember sitting in Major Seal's office, and he told me that I was wing commander, the next wing commander, and I asked him, I was like, sir, is this a joke? I actually asked him if it was a joke because I thought he was pranking me, but here I am.
Major Seal, man.
I know, funny guy.
What legacy do you want to leave behind for both of y'all, being on wing staff?
I'll let you answer this one.
The really nice thing for us that kind of ties along with Cadet Morrow's vision for the detachment as well is that we're in these positions in the fall semester. It's the semester where we get usually over 100 new cadets added to the detachment. So I think it's a perfect opportunity for us in these positions to be able to show that welcoming environment
Absolutely. While
still maintaining a military training environment, and improve retention rates overall for our detachment. Over our years in RTC, our detachment has shrunk a bit, but
do you think
it's
COVID,
kind of our
COVID
COVID amongst other factors definitely played a role in that for sure. But I think it's a perfect opportunity for our detachment this year to try to retain more folks, and because the more numbers, the better, really. The more diversity, the more people, the better and more prestigious our detachment can become.
Right, and I think I remember too, like, my freshman year, I was super intimidated to come into this detachment. Like, even if it was a day that we didn't have to be in uniform, it was like a Wednesday and I was on campus, I would choose to go sit in the library.
Yeah.
I didn't want to come in here. And I want to say it was because I was a little bit intimidated, like, having to see, like, the POC at the time, like, out of uniform. Like, you still have that little bit of fear of, like, I don't want them to yell at me. And so I want this to be a place where like people want to come, like people want to come spend their time here. People want to come chat with their friends here and eat their lunches in the lounge, like making it a super welcoming place. And just that way, because that's something that can definitely carry on. And
Absolutely.
I would love for our class to just be able to kind of start that.
I think we can definitely start. Do you have something?
Yeah, it's that separation
Yeah.
basically between the PMT hours and all the other hours in the DET. And I don't feel that we had that as much when we were freshmen. And so it's definitely something that we can instill in our GMC as the years go on.
So with that being said, I assume that you have some sort of events planned. You don't have, without spoiling anything throughout the semester, do you have anything planned? I know that as PWO, I'm currently undergoing some, like working on some stuff that we have planned throughout the semester, such as, just getting together as a corps, right?
Right.
So we can sort of take away that wall between GMC and POC. So do you have anything specifically that you wanted to accomplish?
I mean, we're going to try and host some events actually here in the detachment for sure, figuring out the logistics of all that, but just kind of making like after hours things more fun, like out of PMT hours, just kind of getting all together and kind of honing in on the family factor, because I mean, when do you have the opportunity to be in a similar situation as 100+ people who wake up with you at 4:00 in the morning, or stay with you at lead lab till the sun's going down and you're shivering out in the cold? Like, you don't really have that opportunity in a lot of different aspects of your life to have people who are literally doing the exact same thing as you almost every day. So kind of, I guess, just like honing on the familiarities with each other and how we can just kind of come together and be like more united.
Yeah. So as you said, whenever we were freshmen or 100s, we were intimidated to come into the detachment and just speak with POC. And I'm sure that that's a stigma that the 100s are going to have throughout the semester. So how are you going to sort of make them comfortable? What advice would you give them?
Do you have any advice? I mean, I gotta think.
Because it touches upon like what you said.
Yeah.
Like, sort of, it's not more so on them, it's you to take the initiative to come into the detachment.
Right.
I don't know if you had anything specifically. Could I do it? You're starting to.
Yeah,
Didn't mean to interrupt.
I think it's our job to offer the welcoming environment, while at the same time promoting professionalism and military decorum required of them. But it's up to them to want to come in here and learn, because we can't make them do that. You know what I mean? So for all the GMC out there, it's not that scary. You're going to be in these shoes one day eventually. You just, do everything required of you, plus more, and put yourself out there. The more your face is seen here, the more cadre will recognize you, the more POC will know you. And ultimately, the more you can learn and gain mentorship from those who have done it before.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like the whole thing of being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like, you're not going to be comfortable the first few weeks you're in here. It's going to be a little nerve-wracking. You're going to be a little intimidated, but you're going to have to learn to get used to being uncomfortable eventually. All of us have. And I mean, Jrotc kind of said it perfectly. Like, we were all in their shoes once. So if they're having some type of problem and they're like, hey, I don't know how to do this, like, someone here is going to be able to help them and give them a little bit of advice and kind of mentor them. And so coming in here really can only help you, even with like showing face around cadre, getting your name out there, getting involved in the detachment, getting involved in our different clubs, getting involved in Arnold Air and Booster Club, and I mean, we have a ton of different things. I can't even remember.
Yeah, no, we have a lot.
And like showing up to all of the events that we host, like it's worth it. It's all about the experiences, and it's all about meeting new people. So I would just say, don't be afraid to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, not to mention, like before when I was a GMC and when you were GMC before.
What about me?
And when we were all GMC, I think we obviously were a little more intimidated to come into the detachment. And when I did start coming into the detachment, that's when RHCC started becoming a lot more fun for me.
Right.
Because I started making more friends, connecting with people, learning more about the program. And so it really will make your experience so much better if you just come in, show your face, and embrace that camaraderie that we have here.
Absolutely.
Right.
I agree. So
Yeah, like during PMT hours, we might be in charge and we might be doing all that. But outside of PMT hours, like we're still people. We still like to have normal conversations. Like we're not scary.
yeah, no, definitely. We're normal people. So,
Right.
yeah. What are y'all most excited for? We're gonna start off with you. It could be experience from yourself or from the wing staff, or what in general are you most excited for?
Honestly, I'm just excited to be pushing myself. Like again, like I said before, this is not something I had ever envisioned myself doing, and applying and actually being here now is definitely not something that is in my normal realm of like being comfortable.
Absolutely.
So pushing myself to like really just like put myself out there and give it my best. I mean, Jrotc and I have been at it all summer trying to
we
get
know.
some stuff done, and it's definitely been a lot of work, but in the end, like I'm just excited for the experience that I'm gonna get out of it. Being able to kind of see how it works on this side of things. I mean, it's a lot different. It's a lot different.
I agree. What about you, Cadet Julie, being her right-hand man?
I've already learned so much from the time that we got our positions as wing and vice wing commander. So that's definitely something I look forward to a lot. It's just the continuous growth and learning that are provided to you when you challenge yourself and take up these positions like that. So
Absolutely.
I agree. All right, so we answered a lot of really good questions here. I appreciate y'all's time. There's obviously a lot of stuff that we covered and a lot of plans that we have for this semester. So any closing remarks y'all have?
Just come out day one, excited, enthusiastic, give it your best. We're excited to see what happens this semester and where it takes us. So.
Cadet Joe, do you have anything other than that?
Detachment 842, we love you, and we'll see you at the start of the semester. Come prepared.
Thank you for tuning in, and this is Date 842 signing off.